I'm Sean Gardner. I've been doing this now since about 2008. And the reason I started, when I first got on the scene, I had 4 daughters. I still got 4 daughters, but it was me and my daughters. We were all over the place, right? And I got tired of the questions that I would always hear. You know, when they would see me with my daughters, right? What do you think they would ask me? People in public.
Is that your daughter?
Yeah, they would ask that. But what's some other questions? When you see a father with his kids, what are some of the questions?
What ain't mama at? Like they'll say something.
Yeah, like are you babysitting today, or are you playing Mr. Mom, right? Yeah, and then our kid, right? So I was frustrated about that, but then I was also frustrated because a guy came to me one day in the neighborhood, and he was having a situation with his wife, where it involved a gun, and he was sharing that experience, you know, out in the open. And I felt it was my job. I gotta talk to you about that, right? And it could have went, for the record, it could have went a number of ways, right? You know, I'm confronting another man about something he's doing with a gun, right? You know, he could have got busy with me. But when I talked to him about it, what I realized, and just to give you some clarity, he assaulted his wife with the gun, right? And so when I confronted him about it, we were talking, and I found out he was really frustrated. He didn't know how to deal with life. He was in the streets a little bit, right? So when he comes home, the wife would kind of chop him down. You ain't this, you ain't that, you know, and he didn't know how to handle that. So what I did, we talked for about an hour. It didn't get physical. It didn't get intense. This little girl was walking up and down the sidewalk, and he would say stuff like, well, I'm going to teach my daughter how to talk to a man, how to respect a man, and stuff like that. And then I said to him, I said, now, would you really want something like that to happen to your daughter? And it's a different thing when you project it back on somebody, right?
Yeah.
So we talked for about an hour, then we talked for another hour because he called me up. What I did, I connected with people in the neighborhood. And when I connected with people in the neighborhood, we met down at Shawnee High School. We met down at Shawnee High School, we talked some more, and when it all was said and done, there was no place for this guy to get any services. Like, I mean, he was here. Like the same way you all come out, he came out, and at the end of the day, he was really saying, look, man, there was no place for me to send him, right? So from that, I said, we got to do something. So back in Georgia, Dr. Turner was the same role as Miss Yolanda here at Neighborhood Place, right? And we got together with her community council, and we did some fatherhood workshops, and we had people come out. He came out. And if nothing else, what we were able to do is provide a support for him. So, long story short, 291 is committed to making sure that the resources and support for fathers. And so since y'all heard, come on up here. Now, do you see what she gave me? That's my ID. So yesterday we go to the dorm and I had to give her my ID. But no, these are my little ones. Come on up here, Bree. These are my little ones. And look, they've been in the spotlight for a long time, right? So these are the little ones that back when this first started, we would be on a bicycle and ride to the meeting, right? These are the ones that would help pass out the papers when there was no Carly in Georgia, Miss Janet Shalana. They helped pass. Y'all remember that? Oh, y'all don't remember that? Y'all remember handing out the papers and pens and all that? Really? Well, they did. And everything. So I didn't want to put y'all on spot, but since y'all was here, I appreciate it. So y'all hit it
I'll
off?
stay up there.
You drive? Okay. So, proud of all of them. Did you check out the email? Okay. All right. So thank y'all, and I will see y'all later.
You trying to get a picture?
Some hugs
Huh?
and kisses.
Hey.
Good day.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, come on. All right.
You was trying to get a picture, yeah.
Oh.
So y'all, and be careful.
Go talk.
But here's the deal. Let me say this. And that was totally impromptu. I didn't know that was coming. But one of the things that I always say is, I knew early on I didn't have some of the resources to provide for my daughters when they got older. So at an early age, I stressed education. I stressed it, man. If you Google Sean Gardner and Cura Journal and college tour, you should come across a picture when she was maybe in 3rd grade, when she was in 3rd grade. Sydney wasn't here. I have 4 daughters, the youngest one not here. Malia was in the stroller. And we had a college tour, going around picking up brochures and talking about college. So what I'm saying is, that wish list that you have in front of you, make it a reality. Start talking to them. Talk to her now. She's listening. Talk to her now. Yours are still you 5 and what, 5 and 3? 5 and 2? Yeah, talk to them. Like I said, at that age, we was on a college tour. But when they have them at the fairground, I don't know if they still have them, but we go around different colleges now, speak to the people, and the oldest one, the one that came, that was driving, she got a full ride WKU, right? Like I said, you gotta set that clear, you gotta set that expectation, and that comes from us, right? Don't come from nobody else. Any thoughts, questions,
You got
concerns?
to get your truth about your beginnings. KYB. Know your beginnings. And so, the man up. Only 2 parts I'm going to talk about. There's 5 things that man up is all about. We're about manning up as an individual, manning up as a provider, manning up as a husband, manning up about being a father, and then manning up giving back. My other partner, Ray Barker, is Sir Friendly. He's going to be back next week and talk about those other. I'm only here to talk about the first 2. First 2. And I've already given an example of what being an individual is all about. An individual is you got to know whose identity. No, y'all said it right. Who identity you need to know? Yours, right. You need to know your identity. You know your identity from where you come from. You got to understand your identity. You got to stop lying everybody else telling you who you are. I know who I am. I'm not who I am based on what my parents said I was, because I found out they were jacked up. I'm talking my truth. I ain't talking your truth. I'm talking my truth, okay? My parents jacked up, okay? Reason I can say that so strongly? Because when I joined the military among other culture of males, and they started talking to me about their parents' intentions for them, their parents' intentions for them, I said, what were my parents' intentions? Well, I went back and found out what they intended. Drinking, smoking, hoeing, and doing a whole lot of crap. They didn't have no intentions for me. That was an accident, okay? That's something you have to accept. It was something that happened, okay? Because my mother, fine red bone. My story. Met my father. He told her he didn't want to have a child. My mom liked it because he was a nice, dark-skinned brother, dressed nice and smooth, clean. He was shocked. They had a relationship. I got the story straight from my mother. When she told him that she was pregnant, he was mad. He said, I don't want no child. I told you that. My mother told me. The man, he told her, I don't want the child. You need to abort it. I heard that's the story. I know. My mother decided to have me. She forced this man into a marriage. A marriage that did not last. Didn't even go 3 years. They got a divorce. He was none interested in me, Sean Daniels, and that wasn't even my real name. My real name, Sean T. Floyd. That's my birth name. Sean T. Floyd. That's my real name. That Floyd seed never came around. Didn't want to have anything to do with me because he had already told my mother he didn't want to have me. So why would he come around? Why would he care? And when he was forced to do it, it wasn't genuine. I remember when he used to come around. It wasn't genuine. He didn't care. So my mother found somebody else. And I got adopted by Daniels. That's real talk to you. All right? Why am I saying all this? I know my beginnings. You all need to know your beginnings. You gotta put things together because you gotta think about how you gonna live, okay? What you gonna do. So I go on about understanding your identity. Here's another piece of my identity that I'm clear about. I'm going to say it right up front. Negro, black, African American, don't do nothing for me. Haven't done nothing for me when I came to realize some different things that I needed to find out about myself. The identity that I claim with, and I'm not here to put that on, this is just me. I'm a descendant of American slaves. Proud of it, ain't mad about it, happy about it. It is what it is. That's my identity. I can articulate, because I can sit here and I can ask you, explain to me why being black. Explain to me being African American. Explain to me Negro. In the articulation that you're going to give me, okay, won't even compare to the articulation that I say to you about me being a descendant of American slaves. A descendant of American slaves.
What we're going to talk about first is how to, some considerations when you start thinking about opening a bank account. And one of the factors that I think to consider is if you don't have a traditional bank account, if you use non-traditional financial services like check cashers and payday lenders and things like that, over your working lifetime, you'll spend an extra $40,000 in that you wouldn't spend if you had a bank account. So being able to deposit your check into your bank account, being able to write checks or use your debit card, those sorts of things, will actually save you about $40,000 over a working lifetime, which is a significant amount of money. The other real benefit to it is that it makes it much easier when you start to think about your budget and start to think about how you're spending your money to keep track of where your money is. Because we've all had cash in our wallet, and if you've got cash in your wallet, it just seems to disappear. I mean, we've all had that experience where you have 20 bucks and then you look up and 20 bucks is gone and you have no idea what you spent that money on. If you have a traditional bank account, it's easier to go back through, see what you spent that money on, and then really start to make choices and start to think about how you want to use the resources that you have. So when we start thinking about opening an account, some of the factors that you would want to consider are doing some research. So the internet now is a great tool. If somebody's had a bad experience with a financial institution, they are inevitably going to go on social media, they're going to go out there and they're going to put that information out there. If they have good experiences, they might also put that out there. So being able to know how other people are interacting with a financial institution may be a good indication of how your relationship with that institution is going to work. It's also important to talk to your family and friends. If they've had a bad experience or a good experience with a financial institution, that may also be an indication of how you would relate to that banker or credit union. And so that's one of those things to really look at. And then really think about how you're going to use your bank account. So if you're going to use it just strictly for paying bills, then that's different than if you're going to use it for making online purchases or however that may work. And so really sit down and think about what it is that you want to try to achieve with your bank account, and then shop around and look for the institutions that offer those products and services that you're looking for. And so a great resource here in Louisville is Bank on Louisville, which is an initiative that Louisville Metro started about 5 years ago. And they offer a lot of tools and resources. There's about 20 banks and credit unions in the community that participate. And they have a great program if you have had issues with a bank in the past, or if you just want to make sure that you get started on the right foot. They offer a program called Start Fresh. And it's a 90-minute workshop where they talk through all the kind of ins and outs of responsible account management. And when you finish that, they're going to give you some tools to help you shop and look at the different banks that participate. And obviously you're not limited to those 20 banks that are a part of this initiative, but they are obviously going to give you information about those, what the products that they offer, what the costs associated with having accounts are, and that sort of thing. So if you are thinking about, if you've never had a bank account, or if you've had a bank account and you've had problems in the past, leverage that as a resource. Their website is bankonlouisville.com, and like I said, there's about 20 different financial institutions that participate in this program, and so it's a great way to kind of get started and get your your feet wet in getting your bank account open and getting started in that.
So, and just to give you a little idea of the challenges parents face trying to navigate their children through adulthood these days. And the name of that activity is called Lead Me, Guide Me, because that is the job of a parent, to lead and guide their children. So let's go to, let me get this thing right here. Now there are different styles of parenting that you can think about. Some parents believe children should have nothing but limits. No freedom. I'm the boss. What's the role of the child?
You said nothing but limits?
Yeah, nothing but limits. I got rules. What's the role of the child?
To obey.
To simply obey. I want you to do what I tell you to do. And if you ask me why, what am I going to tell you?
Because I can.
Because I said so. Okay, so the parent is the boss. Okay? Now, you got another style that some parents use, which give kids way too much freedom. And that's called the doormat style. Have you ever seen that style before? Who's got the power in that household? The parent or child?
Parent.
No, the child does. The child's got all the power. The home atmosphere is chaos. Yeah, in that house, the parent got all the power. In that house, the child got all the power. What do you think the problem is when the parent makes all the decisions, tells you what to do, when to do, how to do it, and why to do it is because I said so? How might that be a drawback, you think?
When they get older, they're gonna look towards their parents for guidance. Like they can't do it on their own.
They can't do it on their own. Right, right. And then some kids raised by this style say, you know what, when I turn 13, 14, 15, guess what? I ain't scared of you no more. This style is driven by fear.
Yeah. So that's the one.
And fear runs out over time, right?
Yeah.
In some houses, it's not. It's sometimes together. Like the parents might be strict on you, but they still know you will have fun. So like it's a circle, or like.
Go ahead. Say it, Mike. You just go back to say what I'm about to do.
It's a circle of like learns.
Gotcha. Here you go. Here you go. It is a circle. It's limits, freedom within limits. So kids need limits, right? Gotta have limits. Kids need some freedom, right? So when you put freedom within limits, now who sets the limits?
Parents.
The parent. Who sets the freedom?
Kids.
The parents.
Oh yeah.
So the parent is still the leader, but they're not the boss, nor are they the doormat. And the one thing about this style is that some parents give their kids too much freedom, and the home atmosphere is all wild and crazy. Then they get really mad, and they go back to this right here. Then they feel guilty, and they go back to this right here, and they find themselves swinging like a pendulum.
And by the time the kid ain't gonna take you serious.
Anyway, I'll tell you, I'm a mother of a son. He's 43. I got a daughter, 38. And I understand that co-parenting, it never ends. Y'all think it's going to be over? Like I said, I'm still co-parenting. Some things that go on my children's lives, it's just still that they're dead. That you're dead.
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's nice to have the door open that I could call him about that because our kids are still struggling. I heard the stories in the room. It breaks my heart. There's no dads. But I think if we had better communication and support group, like you got, like this, because it was very healing to my heart. And that was one of the reasons why I support 2 Not 1. Because 2 Not 1, you're thinking about getting married or having kids or preventing it from happening before you get there because they don't talk to you about it in school and they don't talk to you about it in church. It's a natural urge. Nobody wants to put that on the table. It is what it is. What I had in the booklet and what I was wanting to get from you guys was your name, your age, your zodiac sign, and how many co-parents. Y'all got 1 baby mama, 2 baby mama? Because see, when you go to trying to find some conflict resolution, you got to deal with those personalities. Am I right? And so that was 1 page I was going to give you, so for those that needed that. And the other 2 sitting here, aren't y'all so glad y'all don't have to deal with that? But behind the scenes, wouldn't you like more communication with your dad and your mom being in your life?
Yeah.
And probably that could happen for what we're trying to do with these young men if we can get the parents to see. Guess what? It's not about us. best interest. We're looking after you. We're advocating for you. You're not in the middle. They shouldn't be put in the middle. Does that make sense? And what I did, the next page on there was the zodiac signs. Who's Aries in the room? You're Aries. Who's the Taurus? My granddaughter's a Taurus. Taurus and we get along great. We lock horns, but we get. And then any Geminis? There's a Cancer, because I remember.
Capricorn.
Oh, Capricorn. No Cancers, Leos, Virgos, Libra. My wonderful Libra friend, they're the ones that balance the scales. They kind of like to keep people balanced. Is that right? Some people look at signs. I study everything. There's a little something to learn about everything in all different kind of cultures that will help broaden you. My daughter's an Aquarius. Anybody Aquarius? I have a Pisces sister, and my Pisces sister is baby of the family. But she's over 50-some years old, and she still uses that on me. But I'm the baby, and I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. And if I see stuff like breaking the law, I have a problem with that. The next page, if you pull in, like I said, I gave you this. We've got time restraints. You can look at this. Who likes to read in here? Tell the truth. And just be real with it. A lot of people don't like to read. But a lot of that stuff will hold you back. But if it's something that's affecting you in the system, child support or whatever, or with your relationships with your co-parenting, that's going to be an issue, right? Because you can't you can walk out of the room, but when you learn conflict styles, and you'll find each of you, like whoever your parents or your girlfriend or whatever, y'all got different personalities, not the same. But I'm gonna tell you what we do tend to do, and I didn't know this. You're a boy, I'm a girl, but we got these expectations. You're understanding me, and I'm understanding, and we're not, and we get frustration. Do y'all see that? Mm-hmm. The girls, you're just not getting it. No, because I'm not a girl. I'm not looking at it as you. So those are to raise a consciousness about it, to not get so upset, and kind of deal with it. And in my little handout I gave you, and I use a book called Please Understand Me. I'm talking about myself. We need to understand each other. You got to understand yourself and your temperament, who you are. Your temperament is like your thumbprint of your behavior. And like I was showing, when we consciously accept, one of the biggest things to avoid conflict, girlfriend, mama, wherever you are, is acceptance. To accept that other people are different. I'm not thinking like you. And I know, like I say, it's the end of the day, you eat, you probably want to go to sleep. If you would go over here, one of the things that I've done, and when you're able to give somebody else some consideration that I'm not you and you're not me, but you like me, trying to be my boyfriend or whatever, is to have a little empathy. You do that for a while, but like I said, the whole thing changes when a child comes on. But anyway, empathy.
Today's training was wonderful. I learned that being a father is very important to having and being in a situation with your family and the mother and raising a child the best way you can.
You think anything that learned today can be applied to your life?
Yes, today's steps and information will definitely be applied to my life by resolving conflicts and taking steps to get somewhere in the right direction, and also just understanding the importance of having a father in the household and being a father as myself, is being there for my kids and understanding that they need me and I need them just as well.
Are you looking to forward to next week's session?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's session to see what it's going to bring, and I just appreciate the time and the information that was given.
Me being a better person for myself and then being a father to my child would be the most important thing, because without me being a father to my daughter or my child, it's going to be very hard for her to learn anything when she's growing up. So I would love for her to have a better understanding than what I did when I was growing up.